pretty cool that you get a goalie, D, and a forward like that are all playing for your team now. So it's obviously great drafting by them, and yeah, it's cool to be a part of.
I can't say it, but it is it's an impact, the franchise changing year.
For sure, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I didn't know it now or back then. I'm saying, but just how lucky I am to be a part of this organization. So obviously, I was excited back then, but looking back now, you know, I couldn't have asked for a better organization or opportunity to have came into.
And then looking back to the bubble, you, Tom, a bunch of these guys came in and just got a chance to observe for 2 months. How important was that in the development of the young group?
Yeah, I think it just showed all of us, you know, what it takes to win and, you know, what guys have to give up to get to that point in the season. So watching those guys battle and, you know, do everything they could to get to that point in the year was really impressive, and to get to work with NHL guys and research for that long was huge for me, and made me feel like a lot more comfortable in this group and in this locker room and stuff, just getting to know the guys like that way.
You've got kind of three cores in this group. You got the older guys like Jamie, Ben, and just say you got kind of your generation. Now you got some more young guys with Johnston. What is the dynamic? Is it cliquish in here, or where does the leadership come from when you got kind of three generations like that?
Yeah, I think that's what makes our locker room so good. I think, like, you know, I could hang out with any guy on the team at any point, and like, it's not. I mean, obviously the Finns they like to hang out because they speak their own language, but I mean, even those guys, like when we do team stuff, you know, they're right in the mix. They want to be a part of it all. Every guy, you know, is friends with everyone, and I just think that's like the leadership that we have with the older guys. I think, you know, Chubb's obviously, but then like having Pav and Suits and guys like that you know came in and showed the young guys, like, you know, what's important, and it's important to show up and contribute to, you know, team stuff. I think that's what makes us so close.
Pete said that Pavelski gets a lot of credit for that. He should get a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
What did he do in his time here that kind of impacted this group so much?
Yeah, I think just, you know, he made everyone feel like, you know, they were the best player on the team. You know, just no one left behind whenever we get the chance to, you know, go out and do team stuff or team events. He was pulling everyone along with him, and I think, you know, as a young guy, having a guy like that, I think I learned a lot of just how, you know, it feels when you're treated the right way by an older guy, and how you make young guys feel like they're part of the team. So I think I learned a lot, and it's something I can use as myself for, you know, now that I'm a veteran, that I can, you know, bring young guys in like Joe did for me, and you know, Johnny and all the guys like we just, and not just him, you know, Chubb, Suits, you know, Luke Glendenning, like guys like that. We had such good older guys throughout the years.
See, I was going to ask you, do you consider yourself a younger guy or an older guy?
I don't know. I feel like I'm really young, but then I'm like, I don't know, because Bish is 6 years younger than me, so it feels like I was like young buck like yesterday. So
How do you think Reef is?
yeah, right, yeah. So I don't know.
Guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm young at heart, no matter what.
You mentioned that. I just wanted to follow up on that a little bit. Do you feel like, you know, the window is now in an urgency, even though, as you said, you're a younger guy, but this is your fourth or fifth crack at it. Do you feel that urgency creeping in even in your own career?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, I mean, you know, Dutchie said, you know, earlier in the playoffs, like, you play your whole career to be on a team like this. Like, you don't get many opportunities like this, and even though, like, you know, we're supposed to be good for a while, we got a lot of young guys, like guys that aren't even in their prime yet. Like, you know, it just, you don't want to waste an opportunity like this. You know, you may never get back to this point in your career, and obviously we've made the conference final 3 years in a row, but that doesn't mean we'll ever make it again after this. So, you know, the time is now for us.
What did you learn from the first 40 minutes as a team?
Yeah, I think just when you don't play your best game, they can make you look pretty bad. I mean, they're obviously two of the most highly skilled players ever, and, you know, if you don't play the right way, then they can expose you, and we don't really want to get into like a run and gun with those guys. So and then the third period, I mean, we showed played our way and took over the game.
For your penalty kill on a night where maybe you don't have it quite as much versus a night where you can tell they're feeling it, like, what's the difference? What do you see in front of you on nights where you've got it?
Yeah, I think just like details. I think win and draws to start, and then I think just, you know, when guys are pressuring, and it's not just one guy pressuring, it's kind of the whole unit connected and pressuring as a unit. I think that's when you see like a lot of turnovers and stuff like that. But I think, I haven't really seen many nights where we haven't had it. So we've been great on the kill, and we're going to need that obviously against these guys.
Is there any difference?
I was just going to say, has your morning skate routine changed at all? It seems like there's been more times when you've taken the option. I think that we've seen them up top saying we want to keep you fresh, and that was something, even whether you wanted to do it or not, they kind of made you do it. And then what do you do on a morning like today?
Yeah, sometimes I just wake up and I'm like, I just don't want to put my pads on right now, so then I'll take the morning off, but most times I plan on skating in the morning. But yeah, I think just learning over the years like what you need to feel good, and I think just I like to kind of get my brain and my eyes going in the morning, and maybe 5 years from now, maybe I'll never skate in the morning, just try to save it. So just, if your body's feeling good, then I like to get out there and get a little sweat.
When you say eyes, do you see the arena? Like when you're out there and you see different things, you visualize where the pucks are coming from?
Yeah, visualization is a huge part of like what I do in my game and stuff. Just especially when you go on stretches, you're not getting shots and stuff. So just I've learned that throughout the years, trying to stay busy even when you're not getting a ton of work. Yeah.
A few of you guys got married last summer.
Yeah.
Is there any difference in a playoff grind like this, maybe after being married as opposed to before?
Maybe you have to ask the guys with kids. I think the marriage part is not. I wasn't planning any of the wedding anyway, so I didn't really put too much on my plate. But maybe in a couple years, if we have some little ones running around, I think that'd be a different story. Maybe Segs could tell you better. But yeah, it's nice knowing that after this is all said and done, we don't have to, run around all summer.
Jake, Mike brought up the fact that the 2017 draft class was important for Dallas. It was also a fairly deep goaltending class.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what you think about your opposite number out there. Do you know him that well? And obviously, as you said, these two teams could be good for a while. You might be seeing them for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully, that's the plan. I don't know him like super well. Just I've messaged with him a little bit, but he's been great for them, and he's a great goalie. I like his game a lot. He does a lot of things really well, and obviously played against him when he was on Canada, and then USA Canada stuff. So yeah, hopefully it'd be fun if we could play against him for a while. Obviously they're not going away anytime soon, so it should be fun to battle against them.
Jim Nill, GM of the Year the last 2 years. This morning was announced he's a finalist again. Without the moves he made, would you be sitting here?
No, I think that's pretty clear. And you know what, that goes for my entire time here. I got here 3 years ago, and I think every year, we've been in a spot at the deadline where he's, gone out and traded assets to give us a chance to win. And, I think, it's not easy to do that from the GM chair, especially, with Jim's background. I mean, his background is scouting and developing and young players. And so, I give him all the credit in the world for taking the swings he's taken, over the last 3 years that I've been here.
Right side, fifth row, Corey.
Pete, the comeback gets all the headlines in game one, but it kind of goes to waste if you don't shut them down defensively in the third period too. What did you like about that side of the game in game one, and how are you going to take that into game two for the start?
Yeah, definitely more of a blueprint for how we want to play than the first 40 minutes. And you're right, we got the goals, but we also had a huge kill in the third, and our 5-on-5 game was a lot more solid in the third period. So, I'm sure like they're looking at the first 40 minutes and going, we want to replicate that. We're looking at the last 20 and saying we've got to do more of that than 20 minutes because even the way we drew the penalties 5-on-5, attacking offensive seams, some things like that. So that's more of what we need to do tonight.
Left side, fifth row, Ryan.
Pete, can you just discuss the sort of tactical battle when it comes to special teams in a playoff series, maybe versus the regular season where you're just playing one team on one night, and how through the course of a series it's back and forth and trying to anticipate changes, and how much deeper the tactical battle is?
Yeah, for sure there's a tactical battle there, 5-on-5 and special teams, but I think, the key to coaching in the playoffs for me is to find that line where you're not overcoaching. You're not making changes just to change. A lot of, especially special teams, are confidence. It's hopping over the boards, having that feeling that you can get that kill or score that power play goal. And when you lose that, it's a lot of times you have to fight the urge as coaches to overcoach those situations.
Right side, second row, Robert.
Wyatt Johnston has been really good in these playoffs in a defensive role, especially the first round against Colorado. Started last game on a line with Duchesne and then ended centering his own line. How do you view him at center or wing or on one line or another? What does he bring and what are you looking to get out of him?
Yeah. You know what? I think Wyatt, like the rest of our forward group, has had an up and down kind of playoff. I think the one thing about Wyatt that you can count on is the bigger the game, you can always count on him being there, and that's been the case even in this playoffs, Game 7 against Colorado. I think we've got a group of forwards that's still fighting to find their elite level. I think the opponents we played have had something to do with that also. The fact that we were playing shorthanded for most of this playoffs, other than the last 3 games of the last round and the game 1 the other night. So, he's the last guy, or one of the last guys on my list that I'm worried about, whether he's going to be here and make an impact on this series and help us trying to move and go forward here.
Left side, second row, Mike.
Hey, Pete. How much do you guys work on 5-on-6, and how important is Essa in that? Obviously, being able to score from 140, 80 feet, whatever.
Yeah, he's that's his shot. It's funny. He as soon as it was on his stick, I knew it was going in. I mean, I'm not sure he can hit the net all the time from 10 feet, but from 150, he's lights out. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable confidence that he has. In that situation. And he's done it over and over in my time here. We work on 5-on-6. I think we put a little extra emphasis on it that the night we lost to Nashville, was it, here when we gave up the record-setting, 4 goals in the last 5 minutes or something like that. So I've always felt the confidence in our group in those situations. Until late in the season this year, and we got burned a couple games there, and we've dialed in the detail after that.
We'll take a couple more. Left side, fourth row, Mark.
Pete, you have an interesting lineup structure. You got kind of this veteran core of Sagan, Ben, Duchesne, and then you got kind of guys in their prime: Rantanen, Hintz, Robertson, Heiskanen. And then you got young guys like Johnston and Harley. Is it cliquish in the room at all? Where does the leadership come from in that regard? How do those 3 kind of generations interact?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's great interaction in our room. I wouldn't say they're not 22 guys moving around as one. We go on the road. There's not 22 guys at dinner. It's not that type of team. The Finns do their thing. And there's always groups, of guys that kind of hang out together. But I think the one common denominator is our leadership and our veteran guys, Tyler Sagan, Jamie Benn. That group of guys is really inclusive, when it matters, I guess, is probably the most important part. And if those 2 guys, their personalities are really approachable, they're really humble. There's no entitlement in their leadership. It's really on a peer-to-peer level. They have a great way of communicating that way, as opposed to talking down to younger guys or some of those other groups. So. Yeah, it's a great dressing room, and you know what? I've talked about this guy before, but I always have to mention Joe Pavelski in those 2. He's got a huge impact on how our room is.
Last one, left side, first row.
Pete, I'm assuming when you were growing up in Canada, you didn't think of Texas and Florida as being places where great hockey was going to be played, but you've had experience in both markets. Now, can you talk about what you've seen in the development of hockey in the South? Not only just professional teams that are good, but the development of young players.
Yeah. Well, crazy. I mean, my first job was in Florida, and at that time, Tampa and the Panthers were really in tough spots. I mean, those buildings were empty. There was rumblings of those teams moving. Atlanta was still in the league at that point. There was a real struggle in those markets. So to see where they're at now is really impressive. And Dallas for me is a perfect example of coming into a place and getting a foothold at the grassroots level. I mean, the amount of rinks and ice surfaces and facilities and kids playing minor hockey here in Dallas, is way bigger than I ever anticipated. And when you talk to people around here, it's all based on that '99 Cup team. They won. They captured the city's attention, and all this stuff got done. The rinks got built. I think Florida, didn't get that done early. But it's doing it now, and they're going to reap the benefits of that. I think when you get a team that wins in a non-traditional market, I think the benefits roll out for decades.
What's this whole year been like? Obviously, going into the minors and getting this chance to come up, and then now playing in the Western Conference Finals as a 20-year-old. It's pretty impressive.
21.
21. Oh, sorry. You can drink.
No, has been fun. The whole training camp, starting in the minors and being in the playoffs now, it's exciting. Couldn't do it without the teammates for sure. Helped me on the way, Thomas, and no, it's fun to be here and playing in this big stage.
Left side, third row, Mark.
Lian, along those lines, how did this team kind of welcome you into the kind of the social structure of the team? Like, you come in, you're a young guy, you're not Finnish. How do you how do they make you feel comfortable when you get here?
I think it was really easy. I knew the guy from training camp 2 years ago already, and now this year, and they're great guys. It was easy for me to, get in a team. I got here in December, like in the middle of the season, and it's not always easy for a team to get a new guy. So, no, but I think the team overall did a really good job.
Left side, fourth row, Corey.
Lian, how important was it to, after you guys come back in the third, you still needed to shut them down, and you guys did that. How important is it to take that and bring it into the start of game two?
Really important. Today we don't want to shut it down right away. We want to play our game, our way. But I think it was huge for us to play with a lead, and we succeeded in the end, and that was really important for us.
Left side, front row, Robert.
Thomas, you're looking a little bored. How they approach you guys with a lot of speed. Obviously, Connor McDavid, that's always going to be the case. What did you learn in game one that you didn't already know from the regular season, and how are you going to approach game two?
I was happy with all the questions going to Bish. But yeah, they're a fast team. They got fast players. So we have to do a better job of staying above their speed. And our defenseman, myself, really only myself, has to do a better job of not getting burned wide. But they're good players. They're going to beat you. You just got to limit the opportunities they have.
Right side, third row, Sam.
Robert kind of stole my question, but that play with Connor when you had to turn the hips and go, is that kind of the strategy with Connor McDavid when he starts coming up? What's the goal there in the neutral zone?
Well, my gap was terrible. So anytime you can avoid turning and skating backward or forwards, that'd be great. I want to avoid doing that as much as possible, but he's pretty fast, so it's going to happen from time to time. But try and skate backwards, have a good gap. Force him outside, normal stuff.
Left side, fourth row, Chris.
Thomas, all that said, the experience of playing with Connor, Four Nations, on the ice with him in practices, does it help give you a better feel for how to defend him?
No. It does not. He's the best player in the world. He's unbelievably fast. He's quick out of his turns, and he can handle the puck at that speed, which is pretty rare. So there's a reason he's the best player in the world. There's a reason he's won, however many Hart trophies. You don't know what he's going to do.
Stay in that same row.
Lian, what happened between you and Corey Perry at the end of game one?
Was it scrum? Nothing too serious. I mean, it's playoff time, so everyone is trying to, get a piece of each other. And today's a new game, new challenge, and I just have to play my game to help the team and not be in the penalty box. And it's going to be fun.
Back to Mike, left side, second row.
Hey, Thomas. Jim Nill was nominated again for the GM of the Year this year, third time in a row. How important was that bubble experience? Because I think he made a conscious decision to bring younger guys in. And what did that mean to you?
Being the bubble was definitely a huge learning experience for me. I assume the same for Robo and Otts. And I think he knew what he was doing then. He knows what he's doing now. There's a reason he's won, 2 in a row, and very likely his third in a row. So he's a smart guy, and that kind of springboarded my career.